it's crazy how emotions can grab us.
It's huge, man. You might not be able to choose all the thoughts and everything that happens to you in life, but you get to choose the emotional state you live in. You can 100%, I believe, be anything you want and have anything you want in life.
Yeah.
But most people are ruled and controlled by their emotions and feelings, and it's why they live the life that they don't want to live.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Obrempt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Obrempt. We're back here at the Win All Day Strength Facility.
Headquarters.
Okay, headquarters, whatever you want to call it. Today's interview is with Coach JC, and he has graciously allowed us to set up our cameras and everything and start doing interviews here at his Win All Day Strength Facility. I spent a lot of time here a few months ago, and we'll dig into that a little bit. But I'm really, really excited to get to know this man a little bit better. As people that listen to this and watch this show, you know that one of the reasons that I do this show is just to get an opportunity to get to know people better. And I can't think of a better guy to get to know than my new friend, Coach JC. Coach, thanks for being here.
All day, bro. I am grateful, Eric. I'm super stoked to sit down and have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
And I know the people on the other side watching or listening, man, that their lives will be changed forever after this episode as we get authentic, baby. That's what this is about, right?
That is, it
all day,
is.
baby, all day. Come on.
It is. When did you come up with the all day?
Man, you know what?
You own the fuck out of it.
Yeah. So that's a great question, man. And I'll take you back. When it was 2001, I came out to Tulsa, Oklahoma from New Jersey with big goals and dreams to play basketball at the Division I university called Oral Roberts University.
Okay.
Make a long story short, got a young girl on campus pregnant.
Okay.
That'll
happen.
That will happen.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll happen. And it was frowned upon. So they said, hurry up and get married. So we got married. We divorced in 8 months. And threw in my basketball opportunity, which took me to a dark season of life. And during that dark season, I was suicidal, in a custody battle, fighting to be a dad, over $400,000 in debt. All of my identity was in basketball. When that was taken, I had no idea who this guy was. But I went and I started to do the work. And I enrolled in a Bible school. I got a hold of the Bible, the Word of God, and I got a hold of Tony Robbins' personal development. Between those two things, it radically changed my life. But the brand Win All Day came from winning, me understanding really who I was created to be and where my identity comes from. And I started to tell myself and show up every single day, telling myself, man, you were born a winner. This is how God created you. You can win. You will win. And I started to tell myself that all things are possible and that all things are going to work together for good, because my situation, it looked impossible.
Right.
And it just started to put two things together. I'm like, you're going to win, and you're going to win all day. You're going to win all day. All day, all things are possible. And it just became a slogan. A whole mantra became birthed out of it. You know, everywhere I talk, everywhere I speak on our podcast, we say the Win All Day Winning Confession. And at that point, honestly, it was birthed out of me hoping to stay alive, and then it became my identity.
So you didn't steal it from Charlie Sheen?
No,
okay.
I didn't even know who that was back in the day.
I got fucking tiger's blood and shit. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So is that what brought you to Tulsa, is going to school here to play basketball?
Yeah.
Because you're from the East Coast.
East Coast, New Jersey, born and raised. Yeah, raised by a single mom. My dad left when I was 8 years old. My sister 2 years older than me. And when my dad left, you know, I felt like I had a responsibility, man. I took this role on as I got to be the savior of the household, right? Growing up in the great state of New Jersey, my mom tried a lot, Eric. Single mom working 4 jobs. We lived in rough areas, but she did her best. And even though we didn't have a lot from a materialistic monetary perspective, we had a lot from a moral perspective, and family was tight. And I'll never forget it though, man, when I was laying on the top of a bunk bed looking down at my sister in group housing, a shelter is what they called. You know, we lived on food stamps and moved many times. I was looking down at her and I was asking why. Why me? Why do I have to go through this? Why can't I have the Michael Jordan sneakers, man? Why did my dad have to leave? Why did my dad have to be an alcoholic and a drug addict? Why? And I was asking the wrong question, but it was at that time where I discovered what my purpose was. And I didn't know what it was at that time, Eric, but I knew for the rest of my life that I was going to help people stop the pain and suffering in their life. I hated the pain and suffering that my family was in, and especially the people that we were around.
So that was the moment you knew that you were meant for more.
I knew I was meant for more, 8 years old.
Isn't that a weird feeling?
Crazy.
When you're young? Because I remember being 12, 13 and watching my grandpa work his dick off, right? He owned our roofing company. He started our roofing company. And he worked so hard for so long. And I always knew that that was what I wanted to do, was to carry on the legacy of what he built, because he poured into me the way that he did. But I always had this overwhelming feeling that, and I don't think that everybody has this feeling, is the reason I bring it up, is that you have that moment where you're like, I don't know what I'm meant for, but I am meant for more than what everybody else around me is pouring into themselves. Does that make sense?
100%, brother. I didn't know what it meant at 8 years old, right? But I think it's irrelevant of age. I mean, you and me talk to guys, adults. I think people search their entire life, man, for purpose and meaning, brother. And there's guys that are our age that still don't feel they have a calling and a purpose. See, my life changed when I realized that I believe every person is called and everybody has a purpose. And I help people find that out for a living. At 8 years old, I didn't really know what it all looked like and what it looked like. But I knew something inside of me was just, I was so angry over what my family went through and the pain and suffering. And it was also this empathy and compassion that I had to help people. And so the mission at that age, the calling that it was at that age, is I got to save my mom and my sister. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. And so I was going to either become a professional rapper or an NBA basketball player and use basketball to stay out of trouble. Became really good at it in New Jersey. And
were you a good rapper?
No, man, rap didn't work out, brother. Back in the day, it was Vanilla Ice.
Yes, it was.
I still love rap music, man.
I remember for the record, I don't think I've told this story, but so when how old are you?
I'm 42.
Okay, so I'm 44, so same kind of age bracket. I remember when I was in 6th grade or 7th grade, and there was like a semester that I rode the bus to school, right? I did that for a semester, and I lived with my grandparents, and my grandma didn't work, and I'm like, why the fuck aren't you driving me to school? Like, this is some bullshit, putting me on the bus. But anyway, I rode the bus for like one semester, and I remember that was like when Vanilla Ice came out, right? Just that you bring that up. And I remember all the guys on the bus, we would go home and I had the CD, and you'd listen to it over and over and over and over again, so that when you got on the bus, the whole ride to school, was reciting that song word for word.
Ice Ice Baby.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. But like, is that something that, like, not to digress or whatever, I'm just interested, like, is that like something that you did try to do for a hot second? Or was it just a kid going, I'm going to be a rapper?
I was just a kid trying to be a rapper. I loved rap music. I would sit there and write rhymes, and I think it served almost as therapy at that young age. I was right. I'm like, man, they're talking about all the crap they're going through in life. Right. When we talk about all the crap I'm going through, I didn't even know what I was doing, but now in therapy, they teach you that. They teach you that now. So I was doing it when I didn't even know what I was doing, but it didn't work out, man. I would freestyle. I'd go do like some freestyle battles and stuff. But I love sports, man. I just love sports. I fell in love with basketball. And that's what took me from New Jersey to Oklahoma, man.
And you went to Oral Roberts.
1999.
Okay. All right, cool. And then you got into, well, obviously there was something, a lot of other stuff that happened in between there. But so did you get your son?
So my daughter.
Her daughter, I'm sorry.
She's 22 years old today. She came to live with me, and I got full custody when she was 10 years old, man. I raised her, me and her stepmom, my wife Jody. So amazing story of restoration, brother.
That is amazing. I know what I wanted to ask. Your dad left.
Yeah.
Do you have a relationship with him now?
We do. Yeah, we do, man.
How did that happen? Because I would have motherfucked him up and downtown.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how did that come about?
Man, I'll tell you this. I give all of the credit to my mom. After what I went through, it's crazy because you always say, I'll never do that. I'll never be with my dad. I'll never get a divorce. Man, I would say those things. When I went through my divorce, man, Eric, and I was fighting to be a dad and my daughter was in my life, I was like, man, I'm living what I went through. I said I would never get divorced. And it wasn't by my will. It's not what I wanted. I didn't desire that. And then I couldn't see my daughter. I'm like, what is going on? But I was taken and reminded of how my mom acted, even though my dad was at fault and my dad made his decisions and he owned up to that. He's been clean 35 years and he's a great guy today and drug and alcohol counselor in state of New Jersey. But my mom, man, was such a strong woman. And you don't see this nowadays. My mom didn't always condone my dad's behaviors, but at a young age, she always told us, here's what the Word of God says. You know, you're going to walk in love. It's your dad. You're going to have immense respect for him. And me and my sister are like, you're crazy. He left. He cheated on you. He's a drug addict. He's alcoholic. He's running. And she's like, listen, you separate the person from the behavior. And my mom walked in ridiculous compassion. They never took him back. My mom never got remarried. She had her boundaries set. Her mission was raising me and my sister, and she did a great job. And that was her mission. But she always, as long as my dad didn't put us in dangerous situations, she encouraged the relationship with our dad. So I give all the 100% credit to my mom, and that instilled the compassion, empathy in me, and the power of forgiveness that most people never get to. And the only way that I was able to forgive my dad, have a relationship with my dad, is because my mom instilled that into me and my sister, and I watched how she operated and walked out that mercy, that grace, and that forgiveness. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I was angry at times. We'd curse him off, and my mom would be like, nope. He's your dad. You're gonna respect him, and you're gonna walk in love, and you need a dad in your life, and he is your dad. And my dad always wanted to be in our life. It's not like he left us and ran. He just made bad decisions, but he was always coming to parenting time, trying to show up, even when he was a drug addict, alcoholic. So mom was like, "Are you high? Okay, you can't have him today. Are you drunk? You can't have him today." Right. So there's times where she didn't allow it, but for the most part, it was like, "No, he's gonna be in your life," and she encouraged a relationship with him.
That's pretty amazing.
Amazing. And in my situation, what I went through, that's all I knew. So I was expecting my daughter's mom to be like that, and she was totally opposite. She was like, screw you, I'm gonna ruin your life, you're out of her life, and did everything she could to keep me from normal. It's sad, but that's normal. You know who suffers the most is the kids. And so I'm grateful, and I know my sister's grateful that we were able to have a relationship with both parents, man.
Do you think that forgiveness that you were taught and were able to give, because at the end of the day, forgiveness is about you. It's
100%.
not about them, right?
100%.
But do you think that forgiveness allowed him to go down the path that he ended up going down?
I do, man.
Yeah.
I think the forgiveness, number one, that my mom showed him, and the empathy and the compassion and the mercy and the grace that she showed him was a huge testament of, and really, my mom always used this verse, man. It's like, you're not moved by what you see in the natural, right? You operate in faith. And so she would always say, we're not moved by what we see in the natural. Your dad's going to change. God's going to heal him. Things, and we're like, what are you talking about? So for my dad to witness that and see that, and my mom forgive him, I think that was the biggest testament. And then to see his kids, still to this day, there's emotional conversations where he sees and wonders, like, how'd you guys do that? Like, why did you ever let me in again? So absolutely, brother.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a powerful story, man.
And he's a rehab.
Man, he's one of the top drug and alcohol counselors in the state of New Jersey. He's been clean 35 years now, man. So all his friends he rolled with and I used to know as like my uncles growing up, they're all dead or in jail. And he's alive, and we've had some great stories.
That just really interests me because of my background, right? And like I'm alive today because of rehab and the 12 steps of AA. Right? Like if
he
I
went through both of them.
If I didn't have that today, and I didn't have a program of how to live, right? Like, I mean, that's what for people that don't understand recovery and don't understand AA and the 12 steps and stuff like that, it's not about quitting drinking. It's about figuring out how to live.
Huge, brother. Right?
It's about how to live. And what's really been funny is that I've been over the course of the last 7, 8, 9 years, part of all these different groups, right? Groups, masterminds, coaching, all this different shit, right? Started reading, right? Like, who reads, right? And like I started reading books and all that kind of stuff. And what was funny is that I'd go to all these things and they'd be like, and now we're going to do this. And we'd start doing something. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. That's step 4.
Powerful.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You want me to make amends to people and clear the baggage of my past and blah, blah, blah. Bitch, that's step 8.
Yeah.
That's step 9. Like y'all just stole this shit from Bill and Bud. And it's neat though, seeing it. I got it for free. Right. And today you pay a lot of money. If you're not an alcoholic. Right. To get the same lessons. But the point is that we all need that. I've always said, like, it doesn't matter if you're in recovery. Everybody needs 12 steps. And what warms my heart is that at least now people with different coaching programs and masterminds and groups and things like that, they're teaching the same things in a different way, right? But at the end of the day, it all comes back, right? Make an inventory of everything that you did that was fucked up in your life. Tell it to another human, to another man, to another person. Like get it off and burn it and let it fucking go. Make a list of everybody that you've harmed in your life, right? Long list for me, right? And then go make those amends. Oof.
Huge.
That fucking hurts, right? Have you ever had to do anything like that?
Absolutely, brother.
I mean, how much of a gut, like that's hard to muster.
I think one of the hardest things for me, and you might be able to relate to this, one of the hardest things for me, we talk about forgiveness, was forgiving myself. I lived with so much guilt, so much shame, that I had to learn how to forgive myself. And until I did that, I carried such a weight.
That's hard.
And when I was able to do that, man, and that's when I was able to walk out in freedom and become who I believe I was created to be.
Right.
So, I think that's...
Because there's a level of shame that comes with it, right? It's owning that shame and realizing that it doesn't define you anymore. It was just a season of your life. It was something that you went through to be able to make you into who you are today, right? Like, that's how I have to live, because if I dwelled in the shit that I did in my past every day, instead, I'm such an open book about it, right? I'll tell you anything, good, bad, or otherwise, where most people be like, dude, I'd be embarrassed. I wouldn't fucking tell anybody about that. It's like, no, look, man, if I don't go through that, I'm not me. I'm just some boring schmuck that fucking went through life. Well, I went to school and I went to college and I got out and I make $80,000 a year and like I've got a picket fence, and it's like, nah, man, like we get to help people because of the shit that we went through. Because we're able to translate that to
100%.
other folks, right?
Bro, I think what you just said is one of the keys of life. When people can get to an understanding that life doesn't happen to you, but life happens for you. And your story and your testimony, everything you went through now is part of your purpose. That's a perspective shift, right? I'll never forget the time I read in Tony Robbins' book, The Meaning of Anything in Life Only Has the Meaning You Choose to Give It. That's a perspective shift to say, I'm no longer gonna live in guilt and shame and be a prisoner of my past, but I'm gonna free myself and I'm gonna show up authentically who I am. That's what we're talking about. And part of being authentic is, this is my story.
Right.
And for me, when I started to share my story, not only did it allow me to overcome, but that's when I started to see God use my story to help other people overcome. And I started to realize, wait a second, this is what makes me relatable. This is why people are turned on to me. This is why people want me to coach them. This is why people want to be around me. It's the story. It's the mess I've been through. Man, we could talk about all the great sayings, right? Your mess will become your message, right? Your test will become your testimony. Your pain will become your purpose. There's all those slogans that are starting, but really, when you can come to a realization of that, it really will change your life. And one of the exercises we do with our clients is we have them write their story. Right? I hid from my story for years. I didn't want anybody to know the baggage. Just wanted to see the perfect Coach JC. But when I started to share my story, I started to overcome and set myself free. And that's when true transformation happened for other people.
People relate to trauma. They don't relate to success, right? They want to have the success, but they relate to the trauma, and we all bond through trauma, right? When we had the starting line games here, we'll get into that in a minute, but when we had the starting line games here, we all sweat together, bled together, fucking threw up in the corner outside together, right? And like, that's how you create real connections and real bonds, is showing, is pushing further than you thought you could push with other men, as men, right? Women, whatever, but like, pushing together with a group. Is that kind of what drew you to the fitness world as well? Is the pushing?
Man,
pushing limits.
You know what's crazy about that? Kind of, yes and no. I was at a place where I was looking in the mirror and I was hating. My full name's Jonathan Conneely. Right? People don't even know me by that. They don't even know how to spell it. But I was looking in the mirror and I hated who I was with the guilt and shame. And I was going through some, rebuilding and exercises and, read a couple of things in the Bible and Tony Robbins and try to mix all this life together and figuring out, who really was I created to be. And I started to create this avatar of who a guy that I believe I was created to be, and I started to give him a name and Coach JC, and this is what he would do in life, and here's what he would look like. And part of it was winning in my health and my fitness. And so it became, for me, at that level of life, I was a basketball player. That was taken from me because of my mistake, but the strength coach at the university I went to, Oral Roberts, was like, hey, come just be an intern, come hang out with us, be a graduate assistant. And so I started to see a different level of strength and conditioning. And then I started to use the weight room and health and fitness as my therapy. And it became a place I went to get my aggression out. And so it wasn't really even a push me. It was just it was a safe place. It was something I loved to do, but it started to become part of my identity. It was one pillar that allowed me to overcome at that season of my life, is get myself in the best shape, but also understand the benefits of health and fitness when it comes to the mental side as well,
Talking about aggression, were you a fighter?
I wasn't, man.
No?
I mean, growing up in Jersey, you had to be a fighter.
That's why I was asking. So, you've got the persona, you've got your tough,
It's funny you ask that, man. I get asked that a lot. And my dad was a boxer growing up. And so, it was in my family. But honestly, man, growing up in Jersey, you fight because you have to fight. It's what you know growing up on the streets. So I've been in a lot of fights, broke my nose in a fight, but honestly, I never liked fighting.
Okay.
I remember fighting, and then after, like, want to go hug the person and make up and, like, man, I'm sorry, I had to knock you out. Like, it was never in me. Like, I'm a lover, not a fighter. And so I fought growing up because I had to.
Yeah.
I saw my dad. My dad was like, that's what you resort to always is fighting.
Right.
Nobody looks at you wrong. Nobody talks to you wrong. So that's like was ingrained in me from that side. And my mom's like, no, you turn the other cheek. And so I really adopted.
You really have these two fighting, yeah.
But I adopted the mom's philosophy. Like, I'm a super emotional guy. I love people. I have a lot of compassion and empathy. So even though I had to fight growing up because it's what you do, I always hated it. I remember vividly, I could tell you scenarios after scenarios, going out to the parking lot or the playground and having to fight somebody and feeling bad to do it. And so it was never in my blood, man. Obviously, you do what you have to do, and I protect myself if I had to, but I think I saw my dad fight and what it caused, and a lot of it came out of rage and alcoholism, that it almost, I'll never forget this, Eric, man. There was one time where I was 8, 9 years old, and we were driving. I was driving my dad, he picked me up. And there was a guy that cut him off. And this guy cut him off on the road while we're driving, and my dad follows the guy to the next stoplight, gets out of the car and goes beats the crap out of him. And I'm like, I'm locking the door. I'm like, oh my God, I'm watching my dad just from here to there beating the crap out of this guy. And so I think also it scared me. I saw alcohol and I saw my dad react to be a very reactive person. I was like, man, fighting is really not that. It was a scary thing to me too. Because that's what I saw, and I knew it as confrontational situations.
Yeah, man. That brings up a story. I did that. I didn't beat anybody up, but my daughter was 5, maybe 6, and my wife always picks my daughter up from school, right? That's not my job. I'm doing other stuff. She picks her up from school, and I had to go pick up Tegan from school. And my wife told me, she's like, the parking lot is a clusterfuck, and like people don't know what they're doing. I've had my Jeep almost hit 2 or 3 times. Like, just be aware of it, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I got it. And so I go, I park, I walk up to the front door, and I get my daughter and I put her in the car, and we're trying to get out of the parking lot. And I drive a truck. So like, what do you do when you drive a truck? You back in so you can pull out, right? That's common courtesy. So I don't have to back up and piss people off and whatever. And I've got an opening, and this lady in this big white Suburban keeps inching. And I'm like waving, and I'm like, I'm gonna go. She keeps going and almost hits my truck. And just basically, in my mind, she's sitting in the car going, fuck you, right? I'm sure she wasn't, right? But in my mind, I'm like, she's got her windows blacked out, and she's like, and I know she's just in there motherfucking me, right? Like, I'm fucking. I did that. I stopped my truck. I put it in park. I opened the door. I get out. I walk up to her window. I'm this close. I bang on her fucking window, and I'm like, are you out of your goddamn mind? I'm like, I will fucking bury you. Like a lunatic, right? Do this for like a minute. And then all of a sudden I have this moment. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? Your daughter's in the fucking car? Like, you're a crazy person. And I stopped, and I had to go get back in my car, and I had to sit there, and then I had to have a conversation with my daughter, right? I had to stop and be like, honey, because first thing she asked, Daddy, why'd you do that? Right? And I have to stop and go, whew, honey, that is not how we deal with situations. I'm like, I was completely wrong. And I had to do this like in the moment, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm still fired up, right? But I'm like, that is not how we deal with situations. Daddy is completely wrong, regardless of how stupid this lady is. It doesn't matter. I am out of line, and we never act like that. But it's crazy how emotions can grab us.
It's huge, man.
Like that, right? How anger and fear and all of those things can grab us. And I think that's I think that's why we've landed in the places that we're at. I just had the interview with Cody, and I'm going to have Cole on later, and you, and why I'm attracted to you guys is because your purpose is maybe it's not your purpose, but what I see is like your guys' purpose is to serve, and your guys' purpose is to help other people. Yeah. And I think that comes from, for me, because that's what I care about as well, right? Yeah. Whether it's helping people in recovery or whatever it is I want to be able to use all that fear and emotion that I had in my life that I figured out how to overcome at times, right? Or if it did trigger again, I've taught myself how to tamp it down, because we're not all perfect, right? But can I fix it in 30 seconds, or does it take an hour? Right? And be able to pour into people. Huge. And that's what I see you guys doing. Yeah. Would that be an accurate statement of like what you care about and what your purpose is?
100%, man. 100%. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole mission of our brand, right? Can we empower and inspire people and motivate people to absolutely win in life? And win in life is, how do I get Eric to be his best? Yeah. Right? And so, we do it in different ways, through books and speaking and masterminds and building personal brands and going to organizations to build winners and winning teams. Like, with the playbooks on it, that's all great. But it all comes down to serving. For me, that's why I live my life, man. Yeah. And that's why I show up every single day. So absolutely. And I think one of the things you said that's so powerful, it's a huge part of our coaching program, and I had to learn it. It's a skill set. We teach a large part on the mental conditioning side of it. We have a whole program, a whole playbook, a mental performance, mental conditioning with athletes, with men from all different walks of life. But when you can learn, and I got it from Romans 12:2, I'll never forget reading it, do not be conformed to the things of this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I took that, and then I went to study science and psychology at ORU, and I realized, wait, you can actually renew your mind. What does that mean? Just like you train your body. Yep. When you learn how to become mentally conditioned and strong and be in control of this thing, because every action originates here, and also understand that you get to choose your emotions. You might not be able to choose all the thoughts and everything that happens to you in life, but you get to choose the emotional state you live in. You can 100%, I believe, be anything you want and have anything you want in life. Yeah. But most people are ruled and controlled by their emotions and feelings, and it's why they live the life that they don't want to live. So we coach a lot on that, man, and we talk a lot about purpose, we talk a lot about meaning, we talk a lot about calling, but a lot of the times getting people out of their own way, yes, healthy habits and grinding and working, that's all important. But so many people are just mentally and emotionally weak. Yeah. When we get them to conquer the mental and emotional side, then we see people's marriages change, businesses change, lives change, bodies change, and that's one of the secrets behind what we do, man.
And it's all conditioning, right? Because
it's all conditioning.
It's all. My coach, we work on that a lot, and it's funny how people think when they talk about mindset, for instance, right? That's the buzzword, right? Everybody wants to talk about mindset, and they're like, change your mindset. It's like, okay, well, it's not that easy. I can't just change it. Well, you can, but you have to practice it just like you do a sport. Absolutely. Just like you do in the gym. Yep. I'm not going to immediately be able to go bench press 350 pounds, but if I practice it and I condition my muscles to be able to grow and to be able to do those things, then you walk in and go, how the fuck did he do that?
Absolutely.
I practiced and I conditioned. You have to do the same thing with your brain. And if you don't, if you grow up conditioning it that certain things are normal, then that's just how you're going to live, right? If you want to have a different way and you want to have a different path and you want to have a different mindset, you have to be able to take the time, because it takes time. You have to take the time to practice and to condition your brain into believing that you're a winner and that you're going to win all day and that you're going to do all of these things that we talk about. And if you don't take that time, you're going to continue to be the same fucking person that you were before.
Yep. Man, I just interviewed, the podcast will come out in a couple weeks. You'll love it though. Her name is Dr. Caroline Leaf. Okay. She's the top neuroscientist. I've studied her for years, but she's super dope. And we talked about that because it's a big part of what we do in Condition of Mind. And so when people come to us, I'll tell you this, 95% of the time, we ask them this, okay, do you have an everyday, what's your everyday AM and PM mental conditioning routine? 95% of the time, 95% of people do not have an everyday way to train their brain, their mental conditioning and emotional state. And so we relate a lot to athletics. We put people through assessments and then we say, just like you run a drill on a football field, a basketball court, whatever it is, we're gonna give you drills that you could run to develop a skill of being mentally strong, mentally conditioned. And so And one of the here, I'll give you just for the listeners and viewers right now, like one of the things that we've got to get really good at if we want to conquer and win and be strong here is we got to get really good at understanding that thoughts are not reality. Your thoughts are not facts and your feelings are not facts. See, many times we act the way we do because of how we feel. And we feel a certain way because of a belief, that a story we created based around a thought. And so thoughts are going to come to us. Eric, it's crazy. I know without a doubt, if you're a human being, you have thoughts on a daily basis that tell you can't do it. It's impossible. You're not the dad you were called to be. You're a loser. You're a failure. We don't go and announce that. But I've talked to guys at high levels, billionaires, millionaires, people, and everybody deals with negative thoughts.
Right.
40 to 80,000 thoughts come to us every single day. And if we spend too much time listening, all right, that's going to shape our identity and what we believe subconsciously we take on, and then we create a story and we feel a certain way and we act. So when you can get control of your thoughts and understand, okay, I can't control the thoughts that come to me, but I can control what I do with them. And the quickest way to counteract your thoughts that come to you is to speak. Your mind can only go in the direction of one dominant thought at a time.
Right.
So as you speak, that's why we're very big on winning confessions. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. You are also hearing and you're training your subconscious mind, but you're shutting up and silencing the noise. And if not, too many people that I've been blessed to work with, even these are pro athletes even, they spend too much time listening to the lies and the thoughts that tell them you can't, it's impossible.
Right.
So we have to reprogram our mind and renew our mind. And one of the best ways to do it, it's one step out of our 5-step process, is you've got to be able to speak to the thoughts.
I love that.
Yeah, it's powerful, man.
That's super powerful.
We spend too much time listening and not enough time talking to
man, that's, and I think that goes with, just to piggyback on that, is it goes into the people that don't want to also just share feelings, especially as men, right? Because I that was something that I had to learn in rehab, right? Was to be able to just talk about my actual feelings, right? And not nobody does that, but I think that people that are winning, I think the people that are succeeding in life, they understand that it's not a weakness to talk about things, because if we don't get some of that shit out so that we can relate with another human and then understand that other people are going through the same thing as you are at the same time, then you just live in it too. So you're taking those thoughts that you're talking about, right? And now you're just living it. Yeah. You're just living in it because you're not sharing any of it either, right? Like,
that's why we talk a lot about relationships and brotherhood, and you came out here for the starting line games, but think about that, man. Like, if we're to be real, how many times when you ask somebody, how are you?
Yeah.
Most people have been conditioned, you really don't even care. You're just asking me because it's what you're supposed to do. So most people have been conditioned to suppress, to hide, to not be vulnerable.
Right.
That's why it's very important to have people in your life that are in your corner, that you trust, that you can get authentic and vulnerable with. And you know what? You can call them, you can talk to them, you can pray with them, but you can be real with. And when they ask you, how are you? You guys have an understanding, we're going to be real with each other. And I'm not going to tell you what you need to hear, but or what you want to hear, but I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. And how many people go through life isolated with no friends, no community, no brotherhood, a winning team. And so one of the quickest ways that we help people win and get out of their own way is we put them in an environment where wherever they're lacking, people have a higher standard and they're winning in their areas, so they have to force to raise their standard in that area.
It's all who you surround yourself with.
Mental, any area.
100%. So the way that we generally kind of wrap these things up is, I know that I always forget something, or we got on a topic and then we diverted because I'm a fucking rabbit and, I go down rabbit holes and shit. Or there was something that you always like to leave to an audience. And so I always give the floor back to the guest to kind of be able to close it down with either something that I forgot to ask or something that you're like super passionate about that you want to make sure the audience knows about.
Yeah, I appreciate it. First of all, man, thanks for having me today. Dude, I got to learn a little more about your story, man. You're a winner, bro.
We'll dig into that tonight.
You're a winner, man. I look forward to getting to know you better, but I appreciate the opportunity. And here's what I would say, man. I think everybody watching or listening today, Eric, I honestly believe has a calling and a purpose. And so I look in that camera today and I just tell you, I don't know why you tuned in. I don't know what you're dealing with. I don't know the adversity, the obstacle, the trial, the storm, but I do believe, just like you in my story, that if they can shift their perspective and give it a new meaning, that it will be there to serve them. And so if you're watching today, man, we appreciate you tuning in, but I'm here to tell you you're a winner, you're a fighter, you're a champion, you're an overcomer, that all things work together for good, that God's not a respecter of person. He pulled you from a dark season, he pulled me from a dark season. He can do it for you, and you can be and do anything you want in this world. So we believe in you. And if you don't believe in yourself right now, if you need some hope or belief, man, borrow it from us. You got two friends here, two brothers that believe in you, in who you are. And I always like to leave it this way, man. I leave everybody with the win all day winning confession. So if you're watching right now, repeat after me. Today is my day.
Today is my day.
Nothing will get in my way.
Nothing will get in my way.
Of me being the best.
Of me being the best.
Version of me.
Version of me.
I am here on purpose.
I am here on purpose.
I have a purpose.
I have a purpose.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am passionate.
I am passionate.
I am fearless.
I am fearless.
I choose faith.
I choose faith.
I am a winner.
I am a winner.
I will win.
I will win.
And win all day.
And win all day.
Yes,
love
you
that.
are. Much love.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I forgot. Zyn, for all your nicotine needs. Delicious flavors, cinnamon, citrus, mix them up, put them in a can. You don't know what you're going to get. Zyn, we need a sponsor.
There you go.
So we just keep sending them to them. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to this. There's no fucking way that you didn't get something out of this. So please, I pay for all this shit. I don't have sponsors. I don't want any because they're not going to tell me what the fuck to do or say. So please share this. That's the cost of admission. Share this with people. Make sure that they get the help that they need. And remember, everybody, be authentic or get the fuck out.
Be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.